Today's lesson is Topic 13, Lesson 2. Multiplying a fraction by a whole number using models. Your objective for today is I will multiply a whole number and a fraction to solve problems. But before we do that, let's review what we learned yesterday about unit fractions. Remember that a unit fraction always has a 1 in the numerator. Just like on our first one right here, 1/5, there's a 1 in the numerator. The numerator is the top number, the denominator is the bottom number. So 1/5 is a multiple of 4/5. So in order to get 4/5, I would have to multiply 4 times 1/5. So the unit fraction of 5/8 would be numerator of a 1. I look to my denominator to determine what my denominator should be over here. So 5 times 1/8. 1/8 is a multiple of 5/8. The next one, I have 3/7. 1/7 is a multiple of 3/7. In order to get 3/7, I would have to multiply 1/7 times 3. All right, today's problem is, how much orange juice is needed for a group of 4 people if each person gets 1/3 cup of juice? Okay, so today we're practicing using models for this. So I am going to focus on having a group of 4 people. So I'm going to draw my first model. I want to just draw a bar, and I want to divide it into 4 different parts. My 4 parts is going to help me in just a little bit. So each box represents one person. Each one of the people is going to get 1/3 cup of orange juice. So today I'm working on figuring out how much juice I will need total. Remembering that repeated addition is the same thing as multiplication, I can look at this and know that each one of the people in this group get 1/3 cup of orange juice. So I could add 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 equals 4/3. Because my denominator stays the same, and I add all my numerators. Or I could use what I've learned about unit fraction and know that 1/3 is a multiple of 4/3, and I could multiply 1/3 times 4 to get 4/3. I remind myself that 4/3 is an improper fraction because my numerator is greater than my denominator. I want to turn my improper fraction into a mixed number because I need to know how much juice is needed for this group of people. All right, I have to determine what 4 divided by 3 is. So 3 goes into 4 one whole time. When I subtract out the whole of 3, remember 3/3 is equal to 1 whole, I get my answer of 1/3. So this group needs 1 1/3 cup of orange juice in order to have enough orange juice for all the people. Now let's think about it a little bit more. Okay. We have the same group of 4 people. So I want to know how much orange juice is needed if they each get 2/3 cup of juice. Okay, so I'm separating it out right here. So I'm going to try to add it up. So I have 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3 all the way down to give me the total amount that I need. Because again, I have 4 people, and they each are going to get 2/3 this time. So they're getting twice as much as they got in our last problem. When using my models, I'm going to go through and say, okay, there's 1 and 1. I know that 1/3 plus 1/3 gives me the 2/3. So I can add those two together, and that would be for one person. So another group for another person, another group for a third person, and my last person. So right there, I have 2/3 written down 4 different times. So again, my repeated addition would be 2/3 plus 2/3 plus 2/3. Plus 2/3, giving me my final answer of 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8, my total of 8/3. In order to find that same problem, I could also use multiplication. I know that I have 4 people that are each getting 2/3 cup of orange juice. I'm going to keep my denominator the same and multiply my whole number times my top number, giving me 4 times 2 equals 8. Notice that these two are still the same, but they are an improper fraction. In order to find out what my mixed number would be, I could divide just like this. And remembering that how many times 3 goes into 8, goes in 2 times. 3 times 2 is 6. I have to subtract. 8 minus 6 gives me 2. I cannot go any further, so I have 2 remainder 2, which can be written as a whole number of 2. So I need 2 whole cups. What do I have left over? I have a 2, and my denominator remains the same. I cannot simplify any further. So when I'm done, I know that I will need 2 2/3 cups of orange juice in order to have enough juice for each person to get 2/3 cups of orange juice for this problem. Our next problem we're going to look at is right here. Kelly lives a fourth of a mile from school. If she walks to and from school each day, how far does she walk during the school week? Show with a picture. Okay, I've started off by creating a table for you. We're going to use this table to organize some of our information. We know that a typical school week has 5 days, so I have day 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We are assuming that this is a normal week without any days off or snow days. Okay, so she walks to school a fourth of a mile. It says that she lives a fourth of a mile from school. She walks to and from. It's important to know that she walks to and from school each day. So that means that she will walk a fourth mile to school and a fourth a mile home. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in all my boxes. You should be doing this in your notes as well. I could use repeated addition in order to solve this, or I can use my skills of multiplication. Okay, so I know that 1/4 and 1/4 would be 2/4. So I have 2/4 and 2/4, 2/4 and 2/4 and 2/4. Probably wondering where I got 2/4 from if you didn't follow that. Every day she walks a fourth of a mile to school and a fourth of a mile home. So the total amount that she walks each day is 2/4 of a mile. One way of solving this problem would be to use repeated addition. I could do this, and my denominator is going to stay the same. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 fourths. I would get a total of 10 fourths miles is what Kelly walks each day or each school week to get to and from school. Another way is to use my unit fraction I have here. I need to figure out how many trips she walks total in a week. So one trip is to school and another trip is from school. So each day she has 2 trips, to school and from school. If there are 5 days in a school week, I would know that she's doing 5 times 2 trips each day. In 1 week, she does 10 trips. Each one of those trips is a quarter of a mile or 1/4 mile. I could use what I've already learned about multiplying a whole number times a unit fraction. Remember, a unit fraction has a 1 in the numerator. And I could do 10 times 1 gives me 10, keeping my denominator the same. Now, I'm still not quite done because 10/4 needs to be rewritten as a mixed number. So I could do my division, 10 divided by 4. Do my subtraction, giving me 2 left over. So she walks 2 miles and 2 2/4 miles. Ooh, but I see this. I'm not done yet. Look at 2/4. 2/4, both numbers are even, so therefore I must simplify. And if you're working with your facts, you should automatically see that 2 is half of 4, because what would you multiply times 2 to give me 4? I would multiply times 2, so therefore my final answer is not going to be 2 2/4, but I would divide both the top and the bottom by 2 because they are even, and I would get my final answer of 2.5. Oh, I wrote a fourth, but 2.5 miles. So every week, Kelly walks 2.5 miles to get to and from school.